What's up, Vincent? I'm here. Good evening. How you doing? Hey, good evening, folks. How is everybody today? Give me a shout out you can hear me okay. I think everything should be good, though. Hey, gonna be painting some Terminators. Been working on these guys for a while. Feels like forever, actually. Slow and steady progress, I guess, is the way with these Terminators. These models are a bit more detailed. When I painted Terminators before, I was a crap painter. And I did not realize how long these guys were going to take me. But if you're here tonight, you're hanging out, thanks for being here. Let me know what you are doing hobby-wise. If you're working on some hobby tonight, let me know. That paint is definitely too thin. Let me start by doing some Dawnstone. I was looking at the lightning claws. I think I'm going to do like the little bits where the energy comes out, metal. Try and give the lightning claws a little bit more definition. And I also need to just tidy up the base on this guy a bit. What I like to do on the bases, or what I like to do on the feet, is give these feet these like nice black rims around them. But in doing that, I guess it's quite difficult to do actually without ending up with a ton of paint on the base. So just gonna try and tidy up these black rims a little bit. But we got a new tactics video coming out tomorrow, as always. Every Friday, Blood Angels tactics video, so that's coming out around lunchtime tomorrow. Finished and edited that last night. We also have... usually I stream a painting session on Thursday nights. Live tactics video comes out on Fridays. On Saturday nights, we also hang out and do some painting. So if nothing untoward happens, we'll be hanging out on Saturday night doing some painting. And then on Sunday night, we always do the live army show where we take the best... I was going to say the best lists the community submitted. Any lists the community has submitted. It doesn't have to be the best lists. Just do them in the order that they're sent to me. Obviously, we do members first. Members get a little bit of priority. And one second, I need to put the chat up on my screen so I can see it a little bit easier. Yeah, so members get a bit of priority. Oh, for goodness sake. OBS sometimes just doesn't like to play nice. Good evening, Reziel. How are you doing? People hated the Primaris headed Terminator. Yeah, they did. They did hate my Primaris headed Terminator. Hey, Sam. Procopio, how are you doing? I'm surprised I pronounced that right, or close to right. Good evening. Hallie says magnetizing a Hive Tyrant, but anyway, still have 15 Terminators to paint and almost finish a Land Raider Crusader for them, so Terminator armor should be finished. I was thinking of getting a Land Raider Proteus. Yeah, I know the Grots are just finishing up, I think, Reziel. I usually come on a Thursday at like 10 o'clock. We did say in that Grots episode that we were going to try and do it a little bit quicker than 2 hours, but I guess we failed. But I think that episode, I think it was like 2 hours, 7 minutes, so a few people I'm sure that follow this channel will be finishing up watching the Grots. That's absolutely fine. If they want to come and hobby afterwards, great. If they don't, no worries as well. Can you heroically intervene in the same turn that you advanced without a special rule? Yeah, you can, but you can only heroically intervene in the enemy's turn, right? So you can't heroically intervene in your own turn. So you could advance to position, like if you weren't confident in making a charge, I guess you could advance to position where you could potentially heroically intervene, but you're not able to heroically intervene in your turn. The only way you can get into combat in your turn, I guess, is if you charge, right? So I'm honestly surprised we don't have an advance and charge stratagem. You know that like we're supposed to be this like, especially even Death Company. Like we're supposed to be like the crazy. Death Company are supposed to be out of control, charging the enemies with literally no. Like they don't want to live after the battle's done, right? Like they're just charging to die essentially, and I'm very surprised we don't even get an advance and charge roll for the Death Company. Good evening anyway, Tex, and how you doing? And Crimson Jacket says, hey Commander, how are you doing, Crimson? Hope you're well. If you guys are working on some hobby tonight, let me know what you're working on. I'm looking forward to making more progress with these Terminators. They're taking me a long time. They're more detailed, I think, the models than I thought. Reziel went and jumped over here. I appreciate that, Reziel. Chip Hazard said, I ran the Gravis Captain with Mastercrafted Gauntlet, these Necrons last week, and you took out over 500 points. Highly recommend. So Mastercrafted Bolt Gauntlet, what did you put in the other hand, Chip Hazard? Was it the Chainsword or the Power Sword? I think both are good, right? Both seem like they could be pretty interesting. Reziel has an admech commission to do. Yeah, I'm too slow a painter to do commissions. I actually get some commissions done now and then, so I make YouTube videos and then commission people to paint for me. I'm too slow a painter. I don't know how you guys manage to turn around some of your commission work as speedy as you do. But then, I mean, Reziel, you've got a couple of kids as well, haven't you? Like, how? I don't know how you do it. The gloves are on again, says Benno. The gloves are actually on, Benno. It's February and March are like the coldest months in Scotland. This morning on my walk to work, it was 3 degrees. It was actually not too bad because the wind wasn't up. It's kind of weird in that, like, you know, it can be like 6 degrees, but like if there's a really strong wind and it's like blowing in your face, that can feel like a lot colder than like 3 degrees. So 3 degrees is what it was this morning. Or no, not 3 degrees. -3 degrees is what it was this morning. So, I don't really feel that cold. Like, I actually feel kind of warm with the gloves on. But, I mean, I feel like I'm a cold-blooded person. I like being warm. So, in my old house, though, the gloves had to be on and I still felt fucking freezing. And actually, sometimes I'd wear 2 pairs of gloves. So, I don't think you'd wear 2 pairs of gloves in this house, but yeah, I like these gloves. And also in my old house, I kept getting chilblains, which is like, it's like a skin condition you get where like your skin is so cold that it just sort of starts blistering. Look it up, it's pretty horrendous. And I was getting chilblains on my hands just from being in that house. Even wearing the gloves, I was still getting chilblains. So that's how cold that house was. You know, but like, for example, my boss Andrew, he loves it cold. I'm the complete opposite. I need to be warm. I've been to Florida a few times on vacation, and I friggin' love it there. I would live there if I could. Like, I just love that sort of like warm temperature. I guess I'm cold-blooded. Crimson's been painting a squad of Eradicator. Vincent says he's been trying to convert Tycho and Carbolo into something useful. I mean, I just finished my last blade guard for the painting competition, said Podger. I actually have used somebody's blade guard they sent me for my thumbnail for tomorrow's video. We've had quite a lot of entries into the painting competition. There's a little bit of time left for you guys to get an entry in. If you haven't got your entry in, you have like... what did I say? Like, I'm going to announce the end date on the 12th of March. But the end date won't be the 12th of March. It'll be like a week after that. So, if you are planning on entering, and we have had a lot of really good entries, so it's going to be a fun competition to judge, and we're going to definitely see some cool Blood Angels models. I feel a little bit sad that I can't enter, but I mean, that's just the way of the world, I guess. But yeah, I won't win. I just want to enter a model because it would be cool to do. Airbrush helps you. It was 3 degrees in Denmark today. Oh yeah, Awakened Sheep, you're from Denmark, aren't you? We had a long chat today on YouTube comments, actually, Awoken Sheep, right? Fucking Tau, man. I don't know how I feel about the Tau Codex. I feel like battle suits could go up in points. I feel like broadsides could go up in points. I feel sad about how easily it was, or how little resistance my army was able to put up against that Tau list. Just literally shot me off the table, and it felt like anything I charged was going to take me a couple of turns to take out, it felt like. Even the Terminators, you know, the Terminators made a great charge, like a squad of Terminators, 3 Thunderhammers, and 2 with Lightning Claws into a unit of broadsides that had already lost, I think the broadsides had already lost one of their shield drones from shooting, right? So we only had like 1 shield drone, and even then, one broadside still survived. Like, they're just so durable. I mean, battle suits, I think. Yeah, I mean, the customization on them and the fact that they can, you know, they took away the shield drones, but it's like every battle suit can have a 4-up save. Hey Commander, I didn't mean to say on the Tau thread that you chose poorly. You have poor choices in general. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm fine if people like. I'm not infallible. I don't always play very well. And the thing is, like, see when you're playing a list like Tau, and like, especially in that game on Monday night, when you start taking that sort of amount of firepower and you start losing units, it's not like you panic. Essentially, I guess in a little way, it probably is you panic a little bit. Like, you start having to put pressure on all. You're like, I need to kill this, or I need to make this charge, or I need to do this. And like, when you're behind in a game like that, when our codex is a bit weaker, like, I know I made mistakes in the later turns. Part of it was like, I was just disheartened, honestly. Like, it was just like anything that I did, it just felt like he had an answer to it. A bit like when I played Custodes a few weeks ago. And, you know, you don't mean to get disheartened in a game. Like, you want to, you know, I'm going to play to the last turn. I'm never going to give up and stuff. But it's very difficult to do it when you just watch your units. You know, like, I thought to myself, I'll put the Sanguinary Guard into the dense cover because that'll give them a bit more survivability, which will help me if they don't make their charge. Well, they made their charge, but then he killed, what, 5 of my 7 Sanguinary Guard on Overwatch? With like 150 point squad of guys against like my Sanguinary Guard that's like 240 points. Them getting no cover is stupid. Yeah, them getting the ability to completely ignore cover Awoken Sheep is kind of obnoxious. It's as bad as those Ork buggies that we had a couple of months back. The difference is I actually managed to figure out and beat the Ork buggies, but like, I don't know if... I mean, the Ork buggies were kind of one-dimensional. Tau don't feel that one-dimensional, I'll tell you that. 3 Gots overlapped. Yeah, I knew the 3 Gots. I always stream on Thursdays at 10. Free Gots goes out at 8. We are trying to keep our episodes to like 90 minutes in the Free Gots, but apparently we suck at time management. But I mean, that's okay. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode on Tau. I hope it helped you learn something. There's a lot to take in on Tau. I learned a lot, I feel like, just doing that episode. Dino Shepherd has put together a Land Raider Crusader for his Assault Terminators. Nice. Assault Terminators are honestly, they were my MVPs against Tau. They're the one unit that could actually survive all the indirect fire and the 1-up saves from the Storm Shields, or the 0-up saves. Was it? No. 1-up saves, but being able to counter the -1 really actually helped a lot. Let me be the 40k lead designer, I will fix the game. Terminators, strength and toughness 5, Devastators ignore, moving, penalties and shooting, Gene Stealers will be 2 wounds and so on. Do you know what, I was speaking to somebody, and I think it must have been one of the comments in YouTube, right? Like I have tried now for like a year to answer every comment, and I know I don't answer them all, but I do answer a lot. And I was speaking to someone in the comments section, and I said to them that I think if the Blood Angels Codex came out tomorrow, like imagine we never had our Codex and we got it tomorrow, I honestly think if it came tomorrow, Sangreguard would have 3 wounds. Because we would, you know, we'd probably have a hell of a lot better stratagems as well, but the 3 wound thing on Sangreguard would make sense, I think. I mean, I'm still bitter about them making them 32 points per model. I don't know how they can keep them at 32 points per model when, you know, 300 points, 200, 300 points of them get deleted by like a small squad of battlesuits. On Overwatch, nonetheless, like he's not even shooting me, he's just overwatching me and killing most of my squad. I'm going to play Brett's Orks, I think, on Monday. I mean, I feel like we have a chance against those slightly older codexes, but the very newest ones, like, geez, they're kind of oppressive, aren't they? Is it cold in here because of the gloves? It's not that cold. Like, it was 19 degrees downstairs, but I very much like being warm. I'm just... let me see, did I miss any questions? Hi, I'm getting my friend into 40k. He's having a hard time to choose Dark Angels and Ultramarines. If you could help me, what might be better? I would pick Dark Angels for now. Ultramarines haven't had their codex. And Dark Angels are actually, their win rate's actually pretty good because they're like army-wide transhuman and stuff like that. Like, I don't think Dark Angels are nearly, I think they're in an okay shape. And you know what, Dark Angels are kind of cool. I mean, you get a few interesting options with them. So yeah, I would probably advise your friend goes Dark Angels. That's probably what I would do. My friends made Outriders 50 points per model. I mean, Outriders are 50 points per model. But I don't think Outriders are particularly competitive at 50 points per model. Yeah, I really don't think they're competitive at 50 points per model. I mean, I guess the problem with Space Marines is they have to balance them for all the chapters. But for Blood Angels, Outriders, in my opinion, they don't do enough damage and they lack weapon options. And I think it's the lack of weapon options that really turns me off them. Chainswords are only going to get you so far, right? I mean, there'll be targets on the board for you to kill with chainswords, but still, I mean, chainswords are like... I guess... I don't know how I mean, chainswords aren't crap, but they're like... I guess they're borderline crap, right? They're just... You know, they're what you expect to see on, like, basic troop choices. They're not an elite weapon. I know Outriders are fast attack and essentially not elites, but they, I mean, for the points that you're paying for them, they kind of are elites, right? Dark Angels have a lot of good choices. Yeah, a few people are backing me up. Space Marines 2.0, any rumors when it'll show up? All I've heard is that, like... The one guy that seems to have all information is Chapter Master Valric. He knew about the Black... he knew about the Black Templars release like a couple of months, I think, before it came out. He mentioned that they're going to get new characters and they're going to get a new box set and all this sort of nonsense. So... Valric has mentioned as well that there is going to be a Space Marine 2.0 codex, I think. I'm like 90% sure I've heard him say that. So... They're going to need it, you know. Marines are going to fall. I mean, sure, there's going to be some chapters of Marines that do okay, like Space Wolves, because of their like custom stuff. And, you know, Space Wolves can actually be really mean because they can run like a whole army of chicken dreadnoughts with like storm shields. Or are they called storm shields or are they called something else, like wolf shields or something? But yeah, I mean, Space Wolves and Dark Angels are the two Marines, and to a certain degree, Black Templars are doing okay. But most of the other Marine factions right now are not in a great shape, I guess. Hi, good evening, Gitley. How you doing? It's been a while. I think the last time we talked, you were away at a GT with your Blood Angels, and you struggled a little bit because, I mean, who wouldn't be struggling right now with Blood Angels at a GT? I'm on kind of a forced break from tournament play because I've just had this baby, and like, it would be a lot to ask my wife to like just look after this baby while I fuck off for like a whole weekend to a tournament. Especially when I have to fuck off every day for work, right? So I think it's too much to ask right now, but do you know what? It's probably a good time to be on a forced break because I don't have any other army than Blood Angels. So if I had to go to a tournament, I don't know how I would feel if I'm running into Custodes and Tau, because like, I just don't know. Against a very high competent player, I just don't know if they're beatable for us. I really don't. What do you think of the best anti-Death Guard melee weapons are? Well, I mean, Death Guard, you need to have 3 damage melee weapons or 1 damage. So, Lightning Claws will wound on 4s, and you'll be able to reroll everything. That'll give you 75% chance to wound. Thunder Hammers, I guess, will wound probably on 2s for the most part. And then... Did you explain to your wife Sanguinius needs you? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she'd buy that. She's already pretty good letting me do all these streams every week. I wonder if... I mean, good evening, Tony. I didn't see you there. Maybe I said hello to you. I'm losing my mind a bit. I was going to say, I wonder if Space Marines will get an update that make like las cannons and stuff D3 plus 3, because it feels like that's the thing that we're really lacking from our arsenal. Craft World will be your new army. Nice. I've heard good things about the Eldar Codex. We're going to cover it in the Grots 2 weeks tonight. We cover Tau. I think we did Tau justice, the episode on Tau. I think it was a cool episode. I don't know if our episode helps us know how to beat Tau. I don't think it does really. Remember, you only get 1 extra attack from Lightning Claw. That's actually wrong, Awoken Sheep. You get 2 if you're running 2. The only time you only get 1 extra attack is if the weapon is bought as a pair. A lot of people got confused with that FAQ. Yeah, if you have 2 Lightning Claws, you get 1 each. That's correct. It was the FAQ was designed to deal with some of the weapons that like other factions run, but it wasn't. I think it was to deal with like some Harlequin weapons or something like that. It wasn't to change the rules for Lightning Claws. If you have 2 Lightning Claws, you still get 2 attacks. But yeah, a lot of people got confused by it. At least D6 plus 2 for las cannons. Yeah, you know, somebody said to me this week that one of the tactics they were using was to reserve a squad of heavy eradicators, because the heavy eradicators are D6 plus 4. So bring in the heavy eradicators within half range of the enemy models, and yeah, you only get 6 shots, and you only hit on 4s. But you do essentially do D6 plus 4 for every shot that goes through. And I mean, for heavy eradicators, they're cheaper than a Redemptor, right? I think they're like 9 power level. So against like something like Tau, if you manage to kill out their drones or something so that it's just the actual units, then that could actually be pretty devastating, because basically like on a 4+ you would kill a broadside, and because they're D6 plus 4, every failed save would kill a battlesuit. So, I mean, I've got a lot of Eradicators in the drawer. 6 months ago, I was painting Eradicators. Do you know what? I've probably got them painted to the same standard as these guys. Mike says, which thank you to whoever has brought that up to you, John. Sorry, Mike, I don't quite understand the question. What are your top tips to beat Golf Orcs? Remind me what Golfs are. Because I fought Speed Freaks Orcs that had the fall back and shoot. I also fought the Orcs that once they kill something, everything else in the army gets like the rerolls to, or gets a +1 to wound. And I also fought the transhuman like snakebite Orcs, I think are called. Remind me what Goths do though. I might not have fought against Goths. Goths are the ones with exploding 6s and +1 strength on the charge. Well, I mean, then you have to play super cagey, right? You can't, in that point, you literally can't let them charge you. So you have to use your jump units, you have to bait them in. When they call the wag, they're going to get an advance and charge, so you really need to stay like, what, like 15, 20 inches from them, maybe even more, because they can reroll their charges for free as well, right? Because all Orcs can do that. So, it's generally a good idea if you're playing against Orcs to dictate where the combat happens anyway. Like, you don't want the Orcs charging you ever, because they're gonna kill shit, right? It doesn't matter what models they have. They're a close combat army, so if they charge you, they're killing stuff. So the best thing you can do against the Orcs is to try and keep your distance, and then you decide when to actually initiate the combat and use your 12-inch jump to make the combat happen. Left-handed Texan, I'm sticking with Hellblasters. In terms of what? February went way faster than I expected. Yeah, February always goes fast, but yeah, there must be at least like 20 or 30 entries to the painting competition. I checked my email yesterday and there's a decent number. And some really good ones, some average ones, I guess, would be a nice way of putting them, but, you know, I kind of said that there is going to be, we're not going to be picking just purely based on what is best painted. We're going to be picking based on, like, do you know, one of the, like, it could be the best painting one that wins, but we're going to be making short lists of models that we like, and how well they're painted and stuff like that, and then there'll be some sort of random roll in there to prove that I didn't just pick somebody that I know from the chat. Why black shoulder pads? Lower wise sergeants should have black ones. I was giving all these guys black shoulder pads, Camille, and thank you for the membership for 11 months. That's crazy. I think, yeah, no, I think I did one. I did the left shoulder and all of them black, because I did. I don't really follow the GW painting schemes or anything like that. I just do what I think maybe looks cool or feels right. So no logic behind the black shoulder pads really, except I wanted to give them all one black shoulder pad. I dislike having my models like a single color, you know, like sometimes you see tactical marines and they're just almost red all over. I like to try and break it up a little bit. Because I don't do a lot of edge highlighting, I guess I probably try and cheat a bit by having like patches of other colors. So that's probably why the black shoulder pads. So it's as much me cheating with the paint job a little bit as opposed to any lower reason. Lightning claws give one attack each, not only when equipped as a pair. Yeah, no problem if you want to resend your photos. Yeah, it's confusing, Awakened Sheep. Where was the text? Did you copy it? Each time a bear fights, if equipped with 2, it makes 1 additional attack with this weapon. That model only makes 1 additional attack, not 1 for each specified weapon it is equipped with. Yeah. that FAQ entry is for weapons that require you to equip 2 to get 1 additional attack. And there is some models, or there is some weapons that require you to do that, right? Whereas lightning claws don't. You get 1 attack per lightning claw. Yeah, Sanguinius is pointing out some of the weapons that you can do that with. I do black shoulder pads for sergeants and veterans. Many Blood Angels have black shoulder pads to make the transfers pop. Yeah, that's one of the things I was thinking. On the sergeant, because this is a Space Marine Heroes model, right? So because it's a Space Marine Heroes model, there isn't. It's actually not. It's a pretty updated FAQ. It's not that old at all. It just came out a few weeks ago, and it did confuse a bunch of people. No problem, Waking Sheep. Like I said, a bunch of people were confused about it. It's good to clarify it in here, though. So because this is a Space Marine Heroes model, he isn't specifically a Blood Angels model. Like there is nothing Blood Angels about this guy, essentially. So he's got this big. This would be perfect for like a blood drop transfer, or maybe like one of the gold sergeant transfers would go well on this. So that was kind of my thought behind it, I guess. Behind the black shoulder pad. But everybody flamed me for this guy with the Primaris head, so, I mean, people are in the chat. If you want to flame me for putting a Primaris head on a Terminator, I guess you can. Just get it over with, because it's not coming off. This guy, you know, we lost a lot of model. We lost a lot of... In the devastation of Baal, we lost a lot of troops, right? This guy's helmet was... You know, they already... In the lore, technically, it's very difficult to replace Terminator armor, right? Because Terminator armor is like 1,000 years old and stuff. So his helmet got damaged, and he didn't have any choice. So he took a Primaris helmet. That's the lore behind this guy. Joey says it's fucking disgusting. Okay, Camille just threw up in his mouth. Can't throw stones at glass houses. Yes, says Benno. Can I mail you a Terminator head, says Steve? I've got a Terminator head. I just wanted to... I don't know. Leave me alone. I do stupid things. I honestly didn't think it looked that bad. I really didn't. I was like, it's... Is it, do you, is it because you guys, I was going to say, is it because you guys hate Primaris Marines that you don't like the Terminator head? It's 9,000 years old, the Terminator armor. How the fuck are they going to get a new headpiece? He had to take a Primaris head. Space Marine Heroes is how I started 40k. Wow, I didn't realize many people that started the Space Marine Heroes. I wanted a Death Company Terminator squad because they sounded awesome. Was there any edition that let you make any unit Death Company? No, there wasn't an edition that would let you make any unit Death Company as far as I'm aware, Dino, but there was a cool rollback where before a battle what you had to do is you had to roll a d6, I think it was, for every unit in your squad. It's not... for every... Was it... You rolled a d6 for every squad you had. I don't think it was every unit. I think it was every squad. And on like a roll of 6, one of those models... You just had to remove one of the models from the squad. So let's say you paid for a 5-man Terminator squad. You had to remove one of the Terminators and he became a Death Company Marine. And you had to do that for every single squad. So like, it could work in both ways. Like you could lose a bunch of your Terminators and they would all become Death Company, and essentially that would kind of be a debuff maybe. But you could also have it happen to all your Tactical Marines, and like a bunch of your Tactical Marines just decide to join the Death Company and get, you know, a Death Company Marine is definitely worth more than a Tactical Marine. And back in that edition, Feel No Pains and stuff were super rare. So Death Company were actually legitimately good because nobody had Feel No Pains. Where can you submit a list? You can submit a list over in the community tab, Awoken Sheep. The only thing to say right now is the queue for lists is ridiculous because of Chapter Approved 2022. So like members, the queue for members is like 3 or 4 weeks. And the queue for non-members is like 3 months or something. There's been so many list submissions. I can only do so many per week. So if anyone's waiting on a list submission, I'm sorry. It's just they're taking a little bit longer than normal. I guess now that we've got this Warhammer Seasons and everything gets refreshed and everyone wants to put out their new lists, it's just, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up. I mean, I'll do the list submissions as often as I can, right? But like, yeah, I guess it's going to be difficult for me to keep up with that. Fifth edition was those who are under the red thirst fight first. There was also an edition or two where initiative was an important stat, and it was models with the highest initiative that fought first. And I guess initiative went the way of the dinosaur, but there was every model had like an initiative value, and obviously like characters and stuff had higher initiative, I guess, so that meant like they were more likely to fight first in combat and stuff. In some ways it was cool, but I think it probably bogged down the game, and also some models with really high initiative were kind of like auto includes in certain armies and stuff like that. Tartus Terminators look nice on Primaris. I'll post them in Discord. Yeah, someone else is changing it up with the There's no reason to be so elitist about the heads. Come on, people can share helmets here, guys. In the grim darkness of the far future, as long as you've got a helmet, you're good, right? Like, I'm not a big fan of unhelmeted models in general, or unhelmeted Space Marines, sergeants and stuff. It's like, hey, you know that there's like bullets flying every which way. You're probably going to want a helmet. Everybody feared Mephiston from the 5th edition codex. Yeah, Mephiston used to be an absolute boss, right? His new rules, or his rules for a while now, have been like, I guess, a little bit poor. I've been running Mephisto in a few, like I think I've run him for 3 weeks in a row in the battle reports, and I mean, he's okay. I wish they would give our characters like a proper passover. But yeah, I've run Mephisto a bunch recently just because I guess I wanted to run him. He hasn't, because I know I guess I'm not going to any tournament in the very near future. I wanted to run Mephisto. I do think the Librarian with the jump pack and the probably like Psychic Fortress, Mighty Heroes, Null Zone, or Veil of Time is arguably stronger than him. Which is sad, right? It's like, why should a generic Librarian with like non-Blood Angels powers be stronger than the actual Blood Angels one with a Blood Angel specific powers? It doesn't really make sense, but I guess that's the world we live in right now with our 9th edition codex. Mephiston has been performing for me. I mean, he's been okay. The D3 damage is annoying. It was nice when I rolled that 6/6 to kill the whatever it was, the Tau Commander, though, right? Or the character outright with Mephiston. But I mean, like, in a tournament, you don't really want to be rolling damage rolls like that and you want to just be like, oh, it's flat 3 damage, right? And that's the reason that Mephiston is probably not worth including, I guess. If they gave him a 3 damage weapon, they give him +1 to cast, I honestly think he would be in a pretty good spot. So it's not like he needs a huge amount of stuff, just +1 to cast and a 3 damage sword. His sword's friggin' strength 10, but -3, it really should be 3 damage. And I mean, it's supposed to be better than like a regular power sword. Force sword, I guess, sorry. It's supposed to be like a super named force sword, so just make it 3 damage and be done with it. The Librarian Dread is good as well. Good evening, Arkin. How you doing? D3 plus 1 would be good in Mephiston. Yeah, do you know what? D3 plus 1 would actually probably fix his weapon. It's just a pity you couldn't mastercraft it yourself, like as a warlord, as like a... I was gonna say as a warlord trait, but like just mastercrafted weapons like special issue war gear, right? Weapon skill 3 on Librarian Dreadnought isn't good enough. Yeah, I mean, could you run Quake Bolts though in your list somewhere to help the Librarian Dreadnought? I do think his weapon skill is his biggest problem. I mean, you can kind of get around it with like a Chapter Master or something, because I guess like, or a Chaplain, because he is a character, so you could get some sort of rerolls, but I ran the Librarian Dreadnought a lot at the start of 9th, but I haven't run him in like probably like a year at this point. But the meta's changed a little bit. Like when I was running him, we were in a meta where there was just fucking multi-meltas everywhere. There isn't quite as many multi-meltas being spammed around the place, but I think it's quite a big investment to make the Librarian Dreadnought work. And the thing about it is, like, do you take Psychic Mastery on him? Because he's already very expensive. And like I just said, like the +1 to cast, it basically makes... If you're going to a tournament and you're taking a Psyker and you want him to be reliable, I think you need +1 to cast, because like you can never have a turn where like if you fail a power in a key turn, it can be the difference between the character surviving, the character dying, winning the game, losing the game. So Librarian Dreadnought with Gift of Foresight. I personally don't like Gift of Foresight in Librarian Dreadnought because I think Gift of Foresight, one part of Gift of Foresight, and arguably one of the strongest parts, is to use it with Angel Sacrifice, right? So that you can almost like guarantee a character. Typically a Chapter Master on a bike or a Chaplain on a bike can survive just about through anything when they Angel Sacrifice. And because Librarian Dreadnought doesn't have an invulnerable save, you can't, you know, it doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me to give him Gift of Foresight. And another thing that I think that's probably just it. Like, even if you were to give him Shield of Sanguinius and have like the 5-up invuln, even with a reroll, 5-up invuln isn't reliable. I mean, like 4-up invuln with a reroll is okay, I guess. I mean, the real way to do the Angel Sacrifice is to take the Armor Indomitus and do the 3-up invuln and get that free reroll. So you basically can like reroll two dice on 3-ups, and like that's generally very strong, I think. So I'm not really 100% sure. I just don't think Gift of Foresight is all that great on a Librarian Dreadnought, because yeah, I feel like you're missing one of the key parts of Gift of Foresight, which is the ability to save just about anything / Angel Sacrifice just about anything. Duso says, as a new Blood Angels player, what would you suggest I start with building my army? Do you own any models at the moment, Duso, or are you brand new? John, when are you going to get Math Hammer Gods finally trade your chapter master in for the chaplain on a bike? Here's the thing though, Rilo, how do you run the chaplain on a bike, right? Like, that's my problem with them, is like, if you want to run the chaplain on a bike, who's a tiny bit more survivable, I'd say like, I was going to say like, it's 7 wounds against 8 wounds. And there's a 5-up shrug. So like, let me do the math. 7 times 1.33 is 9.3. 8 times 1.33 is 10.6. Alright, so you gain basically like 1.3 wound of survivability if you take the chaplain over the chapter master on the bike, right? But with the chaplain, you either have to cast litanies on 3s, or you have to give up, like, you have to give up something. You can't have Adamantium Mantle as well. You can't have a 5-up shrug, right? You think it's the transhuman that... No, I mean, transhuman's good, but you're burning through your CP pretty quickly, right? And, like, he's toughness 5. Yeah, he's toughness 5 on a bike. So, transhuman's actually only giving you, like, 16% survivability increase, right? So you're paying 1 CP for... So you got 1 more wound, and you've got and you can pay a CP for a 16% survivability and increase. But like, you're doing that at the detriment of having like super reliable buffs, I guess, right? So I guess it depends on how much value do you place on the buffs that you can get from the chapter master or the chaplain. I put a lot of value on the buffs. Like, I think chapter master rerolls always going off, and also the fact you don't need to be near him for the chapter master rerolls. Like, for me, I think that's super worth it for me. Duso says, I have models from the Deathstorm set, so a Librarian Dread, a Captain in Terminator armor, the Death Company with jump packs, the Terminators which I can't field of what I assembled them with. Do you know what? I think I've got the Deathstorm box. Yeah, I've got it back there. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? If I move my head? Other way? I've got Deathstorm back there. I think the thing you probably want to do so is get some... You need some troops, right? And if you're going to do troops, the ones that I keep recommending to everybody is Infiltrators or Incursors. Both are good. Infiltrators are a little bit more defensive. Incursors are a little bit more offensive. I think they're both I mean, they come in a single box, right? The box will be called Primaris Infiltrators, and inside you can either build a squad of, 10 Infiltrators or 10 Incursors or 5 of both. If you're brand new and you don't have any troops, why not just go 5 of both? Or go either way, depending on your playstyle. If you want to be more offensive, Incursors. If you want to be more defensive, Infiltrators. I mean, at the moment, I own 2 squads of Infiltrators and 3 squads of Incursors, so I think you need choice there. The Captain Carlian model apparently got retired just this week or just last week, Dermot, which is a little bit sad, but that's it. It's a 33% survivability in some cases, an extra wound for adamantium to force multiply on. I mean, it's only a 33% reliability increase against, tough strength 10 weaponry? Like, so apart from Tau, what other shit is strength 10? Like, nothing? Or I guess mirror matchup, Blood Angels maybe? I think good evening, Tony, thanks for hanging out. I think that the 33% increase is to me, it feels like an edge case. Like, it's not going to be that often that you get a 33% increase from transhuman. I mean, I've got that chaplain on a bike and I've got him fully painted, but I think the chapter master is just more deadly in combat as well, right? And again, it just comes down to the fact that he's got He's always got a 3 damage weapon. You don't have to cast some litanies to get off the 3 damage weapons. I guess it's what you like, right? What'd you... Yeah, Dante's a whole other ballpark, I guess. Awakened Sheep. I think Dante's really weak right now. If you compare him to Trajan Valoris, he's like super weak. How much longer until the painting competition closes, says this guy? You've probably like 15 days or something. I'm going to make an announcement on the 12th when it closes. This guy. Chapter Master isn't better in combat. I mean, he's better in the fact that if you don't get your litanies off, he's quite a lot better, right? The problem with litanies is there's no way to reroll. So I find litanies quite hard to use because it's like you give yourself a really tough decision at the start of every turn. It's like, am I going to spend CP to guarantee a litany, or am I going to just roll them and hope? And you know, I guess this is why some people don't like Psychers in tournament play, because Psychers could be denied and by nature are also a bit unreliable. So I can see that. I can see why people don't like Psychers, and I think that's what keeps me away from the chaplain on the bike, honestly. The reliability of it, and I mean, maybe also I just like popping things with the Infernal Pistol. Like an Infernal Pistol with a reroll hit and wound roll every turn can actually do quite a bit of damage. Sometimes it doesn't, but I mean, you can say that about any weapon, I guess. I think the couple of times I ran, because I ran that chaplain on a bike, he was in my tournament list when I went to Clan Wars in September, and I mean he was okay, but I felt like sometimes he could just get bogged down quite a lot, and the Crozius is only -1 AP, right? I'd rather have 1 less AP than -1 to hit, I guess. The thing is, with -1 to hit, I think Gift of Foresight kind of cancels out the -1 to hit, right? Is there a play where you could run both, one with Iron Resolve and Visage of Death? I mean, when I ran it in the tournament, I ran the Chapter Master that I always run, and I ran the Chaplain on a bike with... I kind of kept him cheap and cheerful, like I didn't do many upgrades on him, and just gave him Iron Resolve to give him 9 wounds and a 6-up shrug. And the idea was that I think he took Mantra of Strength, and he took obviously the free one he gets, like Litany of Hate, and the idea was to just have him run with the Vanguard Veterans on a flank and basically give the Vanguard Veterans rerolls to hit, because I was running a squad of Vanguard Veterans on the flank, I was running Sanguinary Guard with the Chapter Master, and then I was in that tournament. That was a while ago now. I might have been running... Yeah, I don't remember the rest of the list. Dino Shepherd says he thinks you'll be moving to Terminator characters. Why Terminator characters? What's got you thinking that? What's the advantage of Terminator characters? Vanilla Marines were amazing in 8.5 and indirectly paying for that. Yeah, I mean, Marines have gone from like one of the strongest to one of the weakest in a very short period of time. There are still some Marines that are keeping in the meta, and I guess that's probably what's hurting Blood Angels, is because some of the Marines are keeping up there, and Blood Angels have had their book. Games Workshop are kind of just ignoring us, but it's tough when they're ignoring us and our win rate in competitive play is like less than 40%, you know? where other Marine factions like are way up near 50%. I think Space Wolves were at like 49. I think Dark Angels were at 50 last time I checked. If you run both the Chapter Master and the Chaplain a lot, I've ended up going with the Chaplain from pure battle testing. It's a better choice all round if you're running him as a tank. Yeah, I mean, if you're running him as a pure tank, I guess that's probably fair to say. The only reason to take the Terminator character is cheap free deep strike. I mean, you get cheap free deep strike on all our jump units anyway, right? So like, I don't. The only advantage of a Terminator character, I guess, is you'd be able to get like a 1-up save, right? Because you could. But you can get a 1-up. You could get a 1-up save on a Chapter Master on a bike, though. You could just give him a Storm Shield, so he's on a 2-up, and then give him like Armor Indomitus, so his +1 goes on the new 2-up. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Terminators. That's why I'm painting them. That's why I'm running them with Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields. And again this week, I think against the Tau, the Terminators showed that like 3-wound Terminators are actually pretty survivable. When all the rest of my army is just dying left, right, and center, the Terminators are still just like, they're actually survivable-ish. So I like Terminator squads. I'm just not sure about Terminator captains. These are agonizing choices that the powerful books don't have to wait. Yeah, you're right. Libby terminally is having a fun, and the 2+ save helps all those units, especially these Tau shooting. They'll be sinking with our Terminator assault squads and holding objectives. Yeah, I mean, sure. A 5+ invuln is usually... it's something, I guess. I ran the Terminator Librarian for a good while at the start of 9th edition, back when you could take powers from both disciplines. I was running the Terminator Librarian for a while, and yeah, the 5-up does save you now and again, I guess. For the 5-up invuln. Thing is, if you're running some sort of like Librarian, you're probably running like Psychic Fortress at one of your powers, so at that point, like, Psychic Fortress is going to give you a 5-up invuln anyway, so I guess then it comes down to if you value the 1 extra wound and the 2-up save that the Terminators get over a... been testing a blob of Assault Terminators, 5 hammers, 5 claws with a Sanguinary Priest supporting, and so far it's worked really well for Oath and Strangle. Yeah, I mean, that could work. Terminators are a good model to have Sanguinary Priest around, right? Because you've got those 43-point Thunderhammer models to bring back to life, so it's just a pity Terminators couldn't have transhuman cast on them, you know that? Like, maybe the way that they fix this, or they fix Marines, is they give like all Primaris models get transhuman built into them for free. So like, you know, anything that's Primaris, like Incursors, Infiltrators, Inceptors, they're all just get transhuman for free. It's just on all the time, kind of how they did Duty Eternal and the Dreadnoughts. And then it would be like Firstborn models could now play transhuman for the CP cost, you know, 1 CP for 5 or 2 CP for 10. I guess that would be a very easy and quick way to get Marines feeling a little bit more competitive, actually. I have no idea how they're going to fix Marines, but they're going to need to do something. I think it's going to have to be something quite serious, which is... I don't know if it's worrying, but I'm just not sure how they're going to fix it. If Incredible says Blood Angels Terminators, I like to run them with Corbelow behind. Do you know what? We don't see many Corbelows, that's for sure. We certainly do not see many Corbulos, period, ever. In the meta, just Corbolo is so far out of the loop, it seems like. Pause with Fury of the First. I think Fury of the First is good on any Terminators. Does Fury of the First still cost 1 CP if it's a 10-man Terminator squad? Because if so, that's pretty big value, actually. I just don't know if I'd have the points to run a 10-man Terminator squad. It's pity we don't get like a stratagem like the Custodes get, where like you can start them as one big squad and then split them on the battlefield. I think it's called like Unleash the Lions for the Custodes, right? That would be so cool. A built-in 5++ is nice because you don't have to worry about casting deny, but overall I prefer the Librarian Dreadnought. Yeah, do you know what? I might try and run the Librarian Dreadnought in a couple of games coming up, just because remember when Corbolo had a 2+ Feel No Pain? I never played when he had a 2+ Feel No Pain. I feel sad. Was it just on every single attack or what? Is 1 CP on a 10-man squad? Interesting. That's actually kind of interesting. The thing that I've been finding is, like, you know, this edition really is about having your units survive, and like so many of our units are struggling to survive against Tau, against Custodes. They just rip my units apart. Terminators in both those games are the thing that's standing firm. I guess it's just the reliability of the saves. You would think Vanguard veterans would be just as reliable, but I guess the fact that the extra wound sometimes, you know, like if you're fighting against an army that has like a lot of 2 wound stuff or 2 damage stuff, then that extra wound actually comes into its weight in gold, because it kind of gives you like 50% more survivability, right? I wonder if we'll get a strat to turn off rerolls. That strat is insane for Custodes. Yeah, it feels like Custodes have so many things that can counter what we can do, right? Turn off rerolls, and then transhuman on those giant squads of bikes that are super survivable and all have 4-up saves, 4-up invulnerable saves rather. I am, you know, thinking about that or even discussing that. I wonder if a fix for Blood Angels would be to make the red thirst rule, you know, like the +1 to wound, immune to all that transhuman-y type BS, right? So like, you know, transhuman says like normally you can't wound on unmodified 1, 2s or 3s. Well, I wonder if a fix for the red thirst would be like, you know, it overrides any rule like that. So you wouldn't say you're strength 8 or something, but they play this transhuman so that they would only be wounding on 4s. Well, because you're strength 8, I guess, or you're more strength or something, that it was like you would still get your +1 from the red thirst. So rather than wound on, like, you would be wounding on 2s, but they've played transhuman, so you wound on 4s. But because you're still getting your +1 from red thirst and it overrides that, you would wound on 3s. I could see something like, there's not many chapters that get like their chapter tactic disabled that easily, right? And ours gets disabled all the time, you know? Unless they rethink our chapter tactic. I mean, I guess they could do that. I feel like that's kind of breaking our identity a bit. I mean, it's what. Yeah, I can't decide. Like, I think I don't like the idea of breaking our identity, but I also don't like the idea that, like, for 1 CP they can switch off like our army-wide rule, which is the thing that makes us strong. Because if we don't have +1 to wound, then, you know, like, look at Sanguinary Guard. Like, they're our most expensive unit. They're 32 points per model, which is crazy. If they're only able to wound on 4s, then all, you know, into a meta where there's so much -1 damage and stuff, so they're only doing 1 damage, they're only wounding on 4s. Like, that's just I don't want to say it's unfair, but like, it's just not, I guess it's just not strong at all. And I think to make it strong, you'd have to change something fundamental like that, right? Rule idea: ignore invulnerable should only work on special melee units. Ranged weapons like towering guns shouldn't be able to re-roll of successful invulnerable rolls. I mean, it's kind of a bit late now, Hero. I mean, they just released the new Tau codex. They typically don't go back on stuff. I'd say even if it's broken, they'll just try and fix it with points costs increases, I guess. And I mean, take from that what you will. Like, I don't like how they balance purely on points costs. I really think it's too one-dimensional. There's too many moving parts, and just putting up the points costs of something or putting them down generally don't change that much. But I mean, that's how they've been balancing as of late, I guess, right? But yeah, they're not going to remove the ability for Tau to remove invulnerable saves from shooting. Not anytime soon anyway, just because the new codex literally just came out, like, last Saturday, was it? We are purposely avoiding AP pass -2, that's dumb. Yeah, I mean, that's true. A lot of people are purposely avoiding AP pass -2 because, do you know what, that's the thing that surprises me, is like, all these other armies have great invulnerable saves, but Space Marines really don't. Could they fix Space Marines by giving us, like, all power armored models have an invulnerable save? Would that fix us? I like left-handed Texan's suggestion of giving Blood Angels 3 dice for advance and charge play into the Bloodthirst and Black Rage. Yeah, you know, the Death Visions that they released were actually kind of okay. But I think the problem with the Death Visions is, like, they're only usable by, like, a Death Company character, which makes sense, I suppose, but, like, you know, maybe the Death Visions just needed to be expanded so, like, any of our characters could have a Death Vision. Like, who knows when somebody falls to the Black Rage, right? It doesn't only happen, you know, it happens to anyone at any point, I guess. They just lose themselves in the battle and take it a step too far, and then the Black Rage, like, sweeps in, right? I appreciate you guys hanging out, though, especially, you know, some of you guys are here every single stream. It means a lot. Appreciate that. Thank you. And like I said, I got a new channel video coming out tomorrow in the afternoon. So if you see it pop up on your timeline, if you can watch it or leave a comment or, you know, add it to your watch later list or something, should be an interesting video tomorrow. Transhuman on 10 Terminators, wow. Yeah, I mean, transhuman on 10 Terminators would be really strong, but I mean, Deathwing Terminators already do that, I guess. That's probably one of the reasons Deathwing are so high up in the meta, right? It's just like big squads of like, I've only played a few Deathwing lists in 9th, but both of them ran like 10. Both of them ran like a big squad of 10 Deathwing Terminators. And Thousand Suns can do that really well with Terminators as well, and Thousand Suns have like some really good ways of reviving their Terminators back into the battle, and I believe they can cast a psychic power to give them like a 4-up invan, and yeah, I think they can revive like 2 per turn as well with the right psychic powers. It's pretty strong. I know as well there's a crazy survivability stratagem for Thousand Suns. I think it costs like 3 CP, but I think it's like -1 damage. So like if your Sanguinary Guard jump in to attack Thousand Suns, right? And let's say you go after their Terminators with like -2 AP or something. They can play like 3 CP to make all your damage go down to 1, and then when their damage is 1, they get +1 to their armor save. So like if you try to jump a squad of like 10, let's say 10,000 Sun Terminators, whatever they're called, Scarab Occult Terminators, they can potentially pay the 3 CP, so your Sanguinary Guard only do 2 damage, and then they get 2 damage a hit, and then they can get +1 to all their armor saves, because all this dust kicks in when you're only 1 damage, and then at that point you're only 1 damage, they're saving on 3s. Sure, you wound and hit quite a lot of times, let's say like 20 odd times, but they're saving on 3s, so at most part they lose like 2 Terminators and then they can just revive both of them. Nucking Fuck says, hobby hangout and list shows is those 2 times each week I reserve for painting. I paint on other evenings also occasionally, but those are reserved. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for hanging out on painting nights. I killed 10,000 Sun Terminators with Vanguard Veterans. Lightning Claws, I assume then? -1 damage doesn't change your profile. No, it doesn't change your profile, but it gives them +1 to their armor save if they're only 1 damage, right? The 1,000 Sun Terminators, because they get all this dust. People put everything into Math Hammer. Yeah, people do put a lot of value in Math Hammer, I guess. Some of the most viewed videos on my channel are Math Hammer videos, so people like to know the math, and I don't think it's bad to know the math. I actually think it benefits you in games if you know the math, right? Like if you can quickly do the math in your head of like, hey, these Terminators are only going to make 6 hits and they're only going to wound 3 times, so he's really only going to fail 2 armor saves. It can help you win games, right? Because you'll be like, yeah, actually, no, that's not the right target to charge. So as much as there is variance in a game of 40k, and there's always variance, I think knowing the math well is a huge advantage, right? It's the same as poker. You know, like if you go play poker at the highest level, you know, you never know what the other player's holding in poker, right? But like if you know the math and you know how many cards have been and you know such and such, it'll help you out huge. How do I enter the painting competition? You watch the video, Hendry. There's a video on the painting competition on the channel. I guess if you search YouTube for like Blood Angels Commander painting or painting competition, it'll probably pop up as like the top result. Basically, you just have to paint something and send it over to the email address that's mentioned in that video, and have like have some proof that it is your model that you're painting, right? if you roll enough dice, the math wins. Yeah, I mean, over time, the math will become accurate, I guess. But like, in terms of like a single game of 40k, yeah, it isn't enough dice to make it accurate. But I mean, that's probably, you know, people were asking earlier why I don't take the chaplain on the bike. Well, that's probably why, because over the course of a tournament at a day, do you roll enough dice to get full averages? No. So do I think the chapter master is better based on that? Yeah, and in a tournament as well, you know, like, I don't ever like my games to be decided by like, holy shit, I really need this like psychic power to go off or I lose the game. I'd rather play, like, I'd rather put my bets on things that will, you know, I guess, like, I'm trying to win and not rely on luck. So if you look at the chapter master versus chaplain, yeah, the chaplain can be better if both his litanies go off and everything goes well. But with the chapter master, there's no danger, right? Like, he just does chapter master things and it just always happens. It always works. There's no... And sometimes at tournaments, you need to make things simple for yourself, right? Because you're going to be playing armies you're not familiar with. You're going to be running into enemies you've never played before. Good afternoon. Vegas is starting to heat up now, says Dave Pikey. Good afternoon, Dave Pikey. So yeah, I mean, it's why when we talk about shooting, I always say, like I've said it in a couple of my videos, when you're in the shooting phase, always shoot with what's easiest first. And what I mean by easiest is not in terms of like, oh, I'll definitely kill this tank, so I'll shoot that first. Shoot the targets, shoot your units that have no options for targets. You know, like, what's easiest? Like, this unit can only see this one unit, so it's gotta shoot it, because if it doesn't shoot it, then the shooting's wasted. You know, so like, shoot what's easiest first, and then move on to like the stuff that's going to require the difficult decisions next. Because otherwise, yeah, I mean, I totally recommend. I can't remember which video it was that I watched that said shoot what's easiest first, but as a rule of thumb, that'll help you a lot. Like, just always shoot with the one unit that's can only see one target or something like that. The unit that's the easiest decision. Not as las cannons roll d6 damage, they're useless. Yeah, I mean, the reliability of those new weapons that the other chapters have, like the D3+3, is just so good. It's probably one of the other reasons that Space Marines aren't top tier at the moment, is like, well, I mean, you can, yeah, I mean, if you look at Sam's list from a few months ago where he won that GT, he ran Las Fusel Eliminators, because Las Fusel Eliminators get the flat 3 damage Las Cannons essentially. They're 1 less strength than Las Cannons, so they're strength 8, but they are flat 3 damage. And, you know, again, like tournament play, you really want stuff that's reliable in tournament play. Because, you know, if you come up against an enemy dreadnought or something and it's got one, let's say it's got 2 wounds left and you roll d6 for your damage, you know that that's going to be the time that you roll a 1, and you pay the CP and you re-roll it into a 1 again. So not only did it not wound, you also blew a CP to essentially not kill it. So yeah, I think that's something that we definitely see, and it's worth talking about, right? Deep Strike Charging was better than 8th. Deep Strike Charging was better in 8th, and you could also redeploy with Upon Wings of Fire in the same turn, and you could redeploy your characters as well, not just your core units, which was really nice. It meant that you, like, well, I used Dante a lot more back then, and one of the reasons to use him was like, yeah, you could jump from one side of the board to the other and then almost guarantee the charge on the 3d6 if you had the CP for it. So you could join a unit that was fighting elsewhere in the board in the same turn. And then obviously if you join the unit over there on the other side of the board, you potentially give them reroll ones and all sorts of good stuff like that. So yeah, I feel it would be so interesting to see what would have actually happened if our codex had come out like now. Because the game is so different now to where it was when our codex came out, I feel like. Combat squad up and make multiple rolls in a deep strike charges and you'll get enough off. Yeah, if you want. Deep strike charging is risky as fuck though. I prefer not to do it. I've just been finding it hard to not do it in a meta where there's so many things that can just shoot you off the table in the early game turns, right? And like against Tau, yeah, I definitely didn't want to have to reserve so much stuff, but I felt like if I didn't put it in reserve, it's just going to get killed. And it's going to provide me like no value. And in that game, actually, my reserves did really poorly. But it doesn't change how I felt. Like I just felt like if I don't reserve this stuff, it's probably just going to get shot and killed, and I'm going to be behind because I didn't reserve it. So I felt like I was kind of forced to reserve it against the Tau. I mean, I know a little bit more for fighting the Tau again, but I mean, it's not something I want to rush into, I guess. I will fight Tau again on the channel, no doubt. Probably lose to them again. But, yeah, they feel a little bit like Custodes. They almost have like an answer to everything that we want to do against them. It feels like more and more armies these days have an answer to things that we want to do against them. 5 bolter interceptors are my jam, says Dave Bowles. 5 bolter interceptors are kind of nice. The only thing I found with bolter interceptors, because I use them quite a bit, and I like to use them to score like Nachman data and then pay the CP to let them like still shoot. I guess it wasn't called Nachman data when we were doing it. It was probably just, yeah, it would have been Rod. I think it would have been Rod. The thing I like, Jason says he thinks that Tau deserve a little bit of time in the sun. It was called the 6th and 7th edition. Yeah, Tau, I think Tau are going to be... Are we going to see points decreases? Or sorry, decreases, increases on Tau? And if so, what do we think we need to see them on? Like battle suits? Are broadsides okay at their current point cost? I felt like everything that I played against in that Tau list was maybe like just 10% stronger than it needed to be. Like, it was taking me 2 turns to kill anything in combat, pretty much. And yeah, you know, they're just everything that he has can shoot is like so much damage. 2 Moon Marines just get peppered and killed indirect fire pretty reliably. Be honest, John, you're considering dropping rods. I'm considering making a squad of Voidsmen at Arms, dude. Like a 6-man squad of Voidsmen at Arms that can, because the servitors obviously proved this week is like, and yeah, I mean, I guess the servitors failing Rod twice in a row is actually good for me, right? Because it sort of proves to me like Okay, I can't reliably use servitors anymore. I mean, they could stay in the list as like a... If there's 30 points at the end of the list and there's nothing to spend them on. But like, if you're going to a tournament and you fail Rod 2 times in a row, that could win or lose you the game right there, and you can't really afford to do that. So, the servitors will be replaced with something that can perform Rod and probably guarantee it. So either we go Voidsman at Arms, and I think those models are completely out of stock and out of print, so I'll have to like maybe get like a squad of Tempest Scions and convert them or something. But yeah, so either Voidsman at Arms, or I might push more into Psychic Interrogation. Like, that might be a good secondary to do now. Again, it can be denied though, so a tournament that could kind of suck. But I think if you want to do Psychic Interrogation, you need 2 Psychers, right? There's no way around that. Like, if you try and do that with 1 Psycher, you're probably not going to get a lot of points. But I mean, I don't have a problem running 2 Psychers. I haven't done it in like a while, but because of the current state of the game, I guess, or the current state of Blood Angels, thinking outside the box is maybe becoming like the only option, right? Rod is too swingy, it's good for 8 VP, that's not enough to win a GT. Yeah, I mean, if the enemy's good at screening you, you're right. And some armies are very good at screening. I found anyway, in my experience. Some armies can just, if they want to, they could just screen you out their deployment zone indefinitely, I guess. The thing is, I don't know if Blood Angels have the secondaries to get those big 100-point scores right now and win GTs, right? I mean, obviously some of you guys disagree with how I play Blood Angels. You play them differently, you want to play more jump units, you want to take the Wrath of Baal. But even if you do all that, like, I don't think it offsets the fact that, like, our army's kind of weak right now. Even with the Death Company going down in points, I still think there's a degree of weakness there. You can do Rod Light if you've built for it, but not if you can't. But that's more secondaries, yeah. I'm trying to avoid secondaries that altogether, given... I'm trying to avoid action secondaries altogether, given that some primaries require actions now. It's a good point, Chip Hazard. Some of the primary pluses requiring actions now means that secondaries that need actions can be a bit more difficult to do. Relentless Assault might be a good one that we... Like, I don't pick Relentless Assault very often, but like, maybe going heavier into something like Relentless Assault would be a good one. You need to be going for 90 VP every game. Yeah, I mean, do you still need to be going for 90 VP every game in the new missions, right? Is it that? Because that's the one thing I've noticed in the new missions, like, at least when we've been playing them, I haven't been seeing the scores be quite as high. Like, they essentially made all the secondaries harder, right? And I guess they, in some ways, made the primary harder as well, so... Is 90 plus possible for Blood Angels? Yeah, To the Last is only going to work if you're going to run 3 squads of like 10 Terminators and a teleport homer, so if the enemy gets close to killing one squad, you can just relocate them from the battlefield. I don't think To the Last is a viable secondary right now. Would you rather take a chaplain on a bike or chapter master on a bike? Personally, I like the chapter master with a hammer of Baal. Well, I like the chapter master too, but we'd already had a debate about that like an hour ago, and people said that I'm sleeping on the chaplain on the bike. He's more survivable to a tune of like, I guess like 10% more survivable, maybe a little bit more, maybe even 15% more survivable, and you can play transhuman on him. So I guess, I mean, they're both good. I prefer the chapter master, but I mean, like I've said a few times in this stream, reliability tends to be key at tournament play, right? Like, models that can't do what you need them to do reliably will win or lose you games, and the chapter master rerolls is 100% reliable, and it's actually a very strong buff. And I guess in my list, because I do both a bit of shooting and a bit of melee, it can potentially affect. I can get value out of it in every turn, I guess. I would never TTL on Marines until 2 of your 3 choices are sometimes characters. Yeah, To the Last is just... It's not something we see as Blood Angels. And, you know, To the Last is going to be like units that you're ending up jumping in to fight with. And if you're jumping in to fight with them, then you're very vulnerable. And if they're To the Last units, the enemy will just focus them down. And we've already agreed that we're not durable, right? My sentiment about the Chapter Master will come around. Well, I mean, I'm half considering dropping... I think I'm going to drop my Dreadnought, my Redemptor Dreadnought, and I think I'm going to drop my Tech Marine in the near future. So, if I'm dropping those 2 things, then maybe the Chapter Master rerolls aren't as needed. But yeah, although the Chapter Master rerolls probably aren't as needed, I dislike having to cast litanies. Piper the Cat Shark says, very good evening, stranger. Good evening, Piper the Cat Shark. Do we know each other? And how are you doing anyway? You know, if you take Armor Indomitus and Adamantium Mantle and all the stuff that makes the Chapter Master super tanky, then you either have to spend the CP in the litanies or you have to just roll them. My luck tells me that if I need to roll a litany and I really need it to go off, it's not going off. That's my luck. On a 3+. Well, I appreciate you coming back, Piper. Thank you for that. I'm actually quite tired tonight. My 2-month-old baby has been keeping me up an awful lot these last few nights, you know that? They say the first 3 months with the new baby is the hardest, but I think it's going to be 3 months. Oh yeah, because this is March now, right? So you're going to be 3 months old in like a few days. He's born on the 7th of December, so yeah, I mean, if I'm only feeling kind of tired, that's good, because I'm pretty sure with my last baby I was feeling fucking exhausted. So, but yeah, I'm going to stream until about midnight, so like 25 more minutes or something. Forget the litanies, they're not important. So you just want a character that can jump in and angel sacrifice and maybe do a little bit of damage. Let me ask you this then, would you run a Chapter Master and the Chaplain on the bike, or would you only run one of them? Because I ran 2 of them in my tournament list. Giving the Space Marines a relic similar to the Humble Staff would be very useful. For anyone that's not aware, Tau have a relic called the Humble Staff, and it basically just, it's a litany on a 2+ every turn. They just get a command point. I don't know who designed that, but it feels like it's broken to me, or it just feels overpowered. Like, it just feels like it's too easy to get command points out of. You know, everybody else has got, like, if you look at the Space Marines, we have a way of like getting a command point on a 5+ when command points are spent or something. This is just like a 2+ each turn, get a command point. And it's on like a super cheap character that can just be used to help screen. When I played Tau, they had so many CP, and I killed that character. I went after that character pretty early in the game because I was like, they have so many CP here. I'm really struggling to hold on to the game. Maybe if I kill that character, I'll have a chance. I think I killed him in turn 2, and I still had no chance. How about Canticle of Hate on the Chaplain? I mean, that Canticle of Hate and Litany of Hate or Litany of Faith are all very good picks. My Dominion Zephon arrived today, and I'm so happy. Special Blood Angels. He's the one that's got the jump pack and the sword from Forge World, right? Is he actually plastic then, or is he like fine cast? The Dominion Zeph. Am I saying his name right? Dominion Zephon. They were supposed to make CP harder to regen this edition. They did at the start of the edition, but codex creep is fucking off. Codex creep is just insane at the moment. I'm not bitter about codex creep at all, I promise you. Good evening, Burgersaurus. How you doing? Play my Blood Angels Necrons TTS. Necrons are easy out. Do you know what? I struggled against that double Catan list. I could have done better, but Catan played defensively actually kind of messed me up. I haven't really seen Catan played defensively like that, especially the Nightbringer. And on that map where there was like 3 objectives very close together, it kind of made it impossible for me to engage into it, because it was just like anything I engage in there, the Nightbringer is going to kill, right? If he doesn't kill it with his Catan powers, he'll just kill it in melee and there'll be no invulnerable saves. Oh, you made a video about Dominion Zephon, Rizio? Well, congrats on making your next YouTube video. You gotta keep it up. The ladies are a nice bonus, but the only one that matters is Canticle of Hate, and it's so worth 2 CP. See, I ran Canticle of Hate on a Terminator Chaplain, brought him down from Deep Strike next to like a bunch of other models, and I think I also had him running the Icon of the Angel. So it was like you got 7-inch rerollable charge on a bunch of stuff. That felt like it was pretty useful. A few people have been recommended that I include the Sangre Ancient, but honestly I can't. I just don't know what this new list is going to look like, because I feel like engaging all fronts is really difficult to score reliably now, and I also feel like Nakman Data is also like really difficult to score now. And those were 2 that, you know, a lot of other ones were a hit, but those were 2 that like Blood Angels could do really well. He's like Uriel Ventress, so he's plastic. Oh, that's cool, he's plastic. Thoughts on playing competitively, not with the best models. I don't have the best models, but I'm tempted to get into competitive play. Local league has started up, but I don't want to get smacked down. Do you know what? Where we are right now, dude, even if you had the best models, you're not going to win the tournament because Blood Angels are 20% weaker than some of the other factions. I mean, that's just the bottom line, like. So then what I would do is, like, go and get a tournament experience just playing with what you have. Like, the first few times you go to tournaments, you're going to be super nervous and all this sort of stuff. Like, I've been to a few tournaments now, so I don't get nervous, like, just playing the tournament games, but this year was the first time that I got to the top table of a tournament. You know, there was only 2 players in the tournament that went 4-0. And yeah, I played badly on the top table. I was nervous and all sorts, so I say go get some tournament experience, but I mean it's going to be limited experience, right? Because Blood Angels are weaker. And yeah, I mean occasionally you will get smacked down in a tournament, but the other thing to do is, like, you always kind of learn more when you lose than when you win, right? I find I always look at my lists more critically when I lose. So losses aren't necessarily the worst thing in the world, I guess is what I'm trying to say. In fact, maybe you need to have some losses to become a good player. Take a Death Company jump pack captain, give him armor and Indomitus and Thunderhammer, and keep him cheap. Works well with the secondary Blade of Sanguinius. If your opponent picks a character that can move faster than your character can, so how do you score Blade of Sanguinius? Because that was my concern against the Tau, right? Like, they have a Cold Star Commander that can move like 14 inches. If he picks that as his Blade of Sanguinius target, I'll never be able to catch him. And that Tau Commander actually had an ability where when he gets charged, you can make a 14-inch move. Like, you can just make like a normal move whenever he's charged. It's like a relic or something. So it's like, I would have liked to take Blade of Sanguinius and try to kill one of his characters for sure. But like, there's no reason he wouldn't pick the one that can move 14 inches, right? So the second you get close enough to make a charge, he just moves 14 inches away and you're out of charge range. You can reselect a target when that happens, so it's not like your charge is totally wasted, like you could charge something else. But, you know, the thing that you're trying to kill, you maybe end up charging a vehicle or something you don't give a shit about. You know, it's the thing that you're trying to kill is able to evade you, right? Dino Shepherd's gonna go watch the Grots. Thanks, Dino. We appreciate that. Dark Ginger's gonna have 300 points versus Tau soon. Well, 50% in Deep Strike, 50% T7 and 8 on the table will be an answer. What do you mean by T7 and 8? I don't know if you need a Contemptor now. I mean, Contemptors are going to be a lot weaker against stuff like Tau, for example. 6 months ago, I would have been like, yeah, you need Contemptor Dreadnoughts. Now I'm not so sure, honest. Smash Captain is 8th edition tech. He certainly is. I ran a bike captain. I ran a Death Company bike captain for a little while. I didn't think he was bad, I just don't know if he was that great. What does everyone think about putting a Leviathan in reserve to avoid Alpha Strike? I like to run him, but still considering all infantry. Yeah, I mean, a Leviathan coming in from the side of the board is pretty deadly. I think that's how I killed Gilliman a few weeks back, but vehicles are out of date, even dreads. Yeah, I mean, I like the Leviathan Dreadnought. I think he's a strong Dreadnought. I think you want to arm him with the Grav Flux, the Volkites, and the Drill. But I mean, coming out of reserve, you're always, you know, you're always hoping for that charge. So charge doesn't always happen. I guess you got to factor that in. Like, there's a bit of risk involved, I guess, right? What about the Contemptor with multi-melt, a cycle missile launcher, and a chain fist, deep striking with a Dreadnought drop pod? I don't know if I would pay for the Dreadnought drop pod Atlas. I'd probably just put them in reserve, right? Like, the new board isn't that big. Usually the 6 inches at the side will let you get... You'll be able to charge something? I don't know if I like spending the points on a Dreadnought drop pod. The Dreadnought drop pod is pretty expensive, and I mean you still end up the same distance away as going into reserve, needing that charge, right? You can't even whirlwind embark Drukhari. Yeah, I mean, Drukhari... We don't see Raider spam as much now. But here's the thing, if we move away from Dreadnoughts, you know, like... And I guess that's what I'm talking about, like I'm seriously considering, like, a move away from, like, Blood Angels Dreadnoughts, because there's too many things that counter Dreadnoughts. Well, Dreadnoughts were very good at countering the Raider spam. You know, Volcons are almost ideal for killing Raiders. Onslaught cannons and stuff like that on the Redemptor are also, like, one of our best tools for killing Raiders. So if we don't have those tools in our list so much anymore because they're just not quite as competitive, I guess, against certain armies, like, is that going to mean Raiders can just, like, cause us all world of problems again, I guess? Because in one of the tournaments this year that I went for and won, it was like a 5 Raider list that I lost to, right? God, I hate Citadel paint pots, right? Like, they always get crusted up and they just won't close properly. Ugh. Raiders are still crazy efficient. Yeah, and I mean the fact that they can use, like, they can put, like, what is it, Trueborn inside them. Yeah, pro tip here. Let me see if I can do this without getting paint everywhere. It normally doesn't happen. If your Citadel pot gets all crusted up, right, and you look at this, like, it will not close properly. You see this? What you want to do is you want to turn the lid inside out, and it's not the easiest thing to do, especially without getting paint everywhere, but if you can turn this lid inside out... Come on. Yeah. When you turn it inside out like that, I have got a bit of paint everywhere, this whole thing will just peel right out. Look at that. Shuts properly. Yeah. I need to make a short on how to do that. But yeah, these Citadel lids are so inefficient. Look how much paint is wasted there. Like, that thing is just ginormous. With Thick City going away, Raiders are going to be more common again. Yeah, I mean, I imagine we're going to see lots of Raiders again. I mean, it's beatable, but, like, Volcon Contemptors were very, very good at killing Raiders. The long range, the number of shots, the easy wound rolls. GW make those paints on purpose to waste paint. I mean, the lids are just bad, aren't they? But yeah, what a waste of paint that is. Like, look at that. And you also gotta wonder how much of the paint has evaporated away while the lid was unable to be closed because that got into the damn lid. Alright, if anyone's got any last questions, I should probably say Blood Angels related questions. Fire them into the chat. We got just a couple of minutes more here. I do think the Contemptors are still going to be valuable. Yeah, I mean, I do think the Contemptors are going to still be valuable as well, so I can't decide how to make a good list anymore, honestly. I think the Contemptors are more valuable than Redemptors now. I mean, they're cheaper in points as well. I guess you have to pay like 1 CP to include them, but yeah. Space Marines just, it seems like every few months it just gets harder and harder to make a Space Marines list that's solid and fun and good. And it feels like all the new codexes are just like able to kill us like really quickly, so I guess make of that what you want. But I mean, we'll be here on we'll be here on Saturday night to do some more painting, Sunday night for the army list show, Monday night I think we're going to fight Orks. I'm going to try and get the list from Brett as soon as possible, and yeah, new tactics video out tomorrow, so a bunch of content coming up on the channel. As always, I really do appreciate the support. If you did enjoy tonight's stream and you would consider hitting the like button, that would be appreciated. You don't have to, but I do. It does mean a lot to me when we get a number of likes. It helps out. So thanks for that. How many weeks on members? It's like it's a while. It's like probably 3 or 4 weeks on reviews right now. I mean, the Army List show, I guess, has become more popular, I think, at the new time. It feels like it's more popular at the new time. Like, more people seem to be watching it of a week. So that's good, but I guess there's also been a lot of submissions because of the chapter approved changes and stuff. So if you have got a list in, I mean, I am getting through them every week. Just take me maybe a little bit longer than normal. But yeah, I guess until further notice, the Sunday show is always going to be in the evening for UK people. I guess that the evening for UK people, I think, catches some of the people that are like in New Zealand and stuff, and it also catches like Americans maybe in a better time of the day. So until further notice, the army show will be in the evening on Sundays rather than during the day, I guess. I want to test out the Terax drill. Is the same price as a Redemptor now. They get 5 melta shots, and in melee they have D3 plus 6. It's only D3 plus 6 against vehicles. It's D3 plus 3 against everything else. But it's not bad. I mean, it's 5 attacks, D3 plus 3, and against vehicles, D3 plus 6. So yeah, I think the Terax drill is cool for the points, and I guess because you could put something inside it as well that could be interesting. Could be really interesting, I guess. You have to build a list that predicts the meta 3 weeks into the future. Yeah, apparently, Riziel. If you can do that, that would be super useful, because you know, normally when I get beat, the first thing I do is go home and like reanalyze my list, right? Like after the Monday night show. If I get beat on Monday night, normally I would just go straight home and be like, right, what wasn't working? What was working? How do I make this list stronger for like the next run out, right? But like after the game against Custodes and after the game against Tau, I just sort of felt like, do you know what? I don't know if my list is the problem as much as the enemies fighting with like a crazy codex is the problem. And my list isn't super competitive, right? Because we have Mephiston in there, so there's a little bit of like fluff or fun or something in my list. Like it isn't, I haven't gone completely, this is my best tournament list sort of vibe on that yet. But I mean, I'm not going to a tournament for 6 months, so it makes sense. Like I just want to play stuff that, you know, we want to have some fun. We want to see Mephiston kill some stuff on the show. Sure, we sometimes want to see the most competitive stuff, and I will do that again. You know, that's kind of my jam, is doing the most competitive stuff possible. But yeah, I didn't walk away from either of those games really upset with my list. More so it was just like, wow, okay, so this is what I'm fighting against. I kind of need to even think about my tactics or something on how I'm going to deal with this, because the shooting from the Tau felt like super oppressive, and the Custodes just felt like they had an answer for everything in terms of like, oh no, this is transhuman, oh no, you can't use rerolls here, oh no, you can't, you know, just felt like Custodes completely shut down everything I was trying to do. So okay, but that is midnight. Does the battle scribe of the current Marine Blood Angels points you? I imagine it does, but I mean, I don't typically use battle scribe all that much, but I'm sure it must have the updated points by now. David says your list was fine. I appreciate that, David. It's 1 PM here. I see. Yeah, so we do catch. I'd be better without the Terminators. You hate Terminators, Rizio. I get it. Alright, does anyone else have to deal with storm surges? Anyone else had to deal with storm surges? I found the 4++ is so difficult with that number of toughness 8 wounds. Sorry, Douglas, I missed your question. Yeah, I mean, Null Zone would help against storm surges, or maybe like Unleash Rage from a Psyker would help. But yeah, storm surges I think are maybe a little bit undercosted. They get so much shooting. You're gonna have to deal with them in melee because we don't have enough shooting to take 22 wounds off, I feel like. So I can feel your pain, Douglas. I did beat Tau 2 weeks ago when he played 3 storm surges. So you could have a look at that battle report on the channel, but yeah, in general, storm surges are kind of obnoxious. Storm surge list wiped my 1,000 Suns in turn 2. Yeah, I mean, Tau we're gonna need. Storm surges are gonna need to go up 100 points. Broadside battle suits up maybe like 10 points. Regular battle suits up like 5. And maybe make the shield generators on them 5 more points as well. And then maybe we can talk about Tau being able to compete against Tau. Do you see the chat on 2 monitors? I see 2 different chats, yes. I see the YouTube chat on one screen, and then I see the chat with Twitch and all that on the other. But I mean, that's just because of the way I've got OBS set up. Alright guys, have a nice evening. Thanks again for watching. I will see you guys. I'll be live tomorrow with the new video tomorrow, and then live on Saturday night. I hope to catch some of you guys then. Peace.